All right, let's talk Monday Night Raw.
The Rock says, The Rock says,
Before we get into the video, we need to have a talk. You see this number? 96%. 96% of you are watching the videos and you're not subscribed. Do you have any idea what that looks like? It looks like you're watching the porn from outside in the bushes. Don't be a creep. Pull up a seat, and as long as you got positive vibes, you are welcome to join the Flash family. It's all love over here. It's obviously you're supposed to be joining the family, right? That's why you keep on coming back, and that's why you keep seeing us in your algorithm. We're calling you. The universe is aligning. So go ahead and smack the like button, electrify the subscribe button, and join the family. Now, back to the video. Now, forgive me, I know I've been a little bit MIA for the last week and a half. As you can probably hear in my voice, I've had a little bit of a congestion problem, a little bit under the weather. And on top of that, I've had a couple technical difficulties with my equipment. But we're back into the flow of things. My voice is starting to come back a lot stronger now. My camera is working again. And so we're back into it, bringing you guys content more on a regular basis. So thank you guys so much for your patience. Let's dive right into the show. Of course, we're going to start out this show as we start out everything that has them on it. We're going to start out with the Bloodline segment. So we're at a point now where since Jay and Sammy are on Raw, we're going to get a lot more of Raw and SmackDown segments of Bloodline stuff. And I'm here for it, especially if you're going to tell more of a story of what is Roman going to do. And I'll talk more about my thoughts on what Roman is doing currently from Crown Jewel to now in a separate video. But on this specific episode of Raw, we're trying to figure out who's going to be the fifth member of both teams. They did confirm there's going to be a 5-on-5 Wargames match going into Survivor Series. And at that moment, I immediately started thinking what I imagine everybody was thinking, Hikuleo and Zilla Fatu. But they kind of shot that down. They immediately break up. And Sammy, well, when I say break up, I don't mean like literally break up. I mean they go their separate ways to find, to talk to different people to join the team. And so you see Sammy approach Seth Rollins. That is the most interesting one of them all because of all people, how interesting would it be to see Seth Rollins join sides with Roman Reigns once again? And I've said plenty of times that Roman needs to answer for his sins, and one of the biggest, I don't even know if I would consider to be a sin because Roman just hasn't gotten over the initial betrayal that Seth did to him 14 years ago. But seeing those two on the same side again after they've said so much about them never teaming together and that they don't need each other and this, that, and the third, I think that would be the most eyebrow-raising situation that could happen. And we saw what happened when Roman teamed with Cody, The Rock came out. And so if he teams with his other WrestleMania opponent and Seth Rollins, what does that look like in the eyes of The Rock? To the new bloodline, they're looking at it as, okay, Roman is a traitor. He's just going around teaming with everyone that gave us problems and he's standing with everyone that wanted to bring down the family. So what type of loyalty do you have to the bloodline? That's a very interesting story beat. But of course, Seth shoots it all down because he's like, I'm never teaming with Roman again. If I'm ever in the ring with Roman again, I'm stomping his face into the mat, and that's that on that. I'm never teaming with him again. So he pretty much shoots down Sammy. Later on the night, after a brawl he had with Bronson Reed, he goes to Solo. Well, Solo confronts him in the parking lot and basically says, hey, you hate Roman, I hate Roman. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So let's team up. Let's take him out for good. Seth says, look, yeah, you're right. I do hate Roman. But like I told Sammy, I'm never teaming with him again. But not only will I never team with Roman again, I will never team with a wannabe Roman Reigns. Okay, so as soon as I heard that line, I'm like, okay, so they're not done with Seth. Because you don't say things like that to Solo, especially while Jacob is there, and it's just done. There's always a story beat that has to come back around full circle. Triple H is all about that. Everything matters. So everything that's been said, it has to be brought up again, or has to be paid for. It has to be something to pay off that moment. And so, as Bronson Reed's walking to the ring before all of this, you see Jay in the background talking to Rey Mysterio. The fact that they didn't even mic them up for something like that, that pretty much goes to show that Ray's not going to do it. And plus, the last time Ray and Roman had any type of interaction with each other, he was throwing him and his son over the barricade and tossing them into cage walls, and it just wasn't a good sight. And so lastly, we got Jimmy approaching Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is challenged by Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship for a match, which I'm looking forward to, even though I know Sheamus is not going to win. And at this point, I don't think that they're ever going to actually give the title to Sheamus. Like, he's been there for 14 years. He's held every single major singles championship. He's held every tag team championship. He's pretty much held everything aside from NXT Gold. And they still haven't put the IC championship on him. And the way I look at it, if they didn't do it back in that time when he was feuding with Gunther and Drew McIntyre, I just don't see a world where they're going to do it. Unless it's one of those retirement, he's finally done it, and then he relinquishes it the next night or something like that. I just don't see a point in him beating Braun Breaker at this point. So personally, yeah, that's just, it's one of those things that get your mouth watering, and then ultimately it's just going to be a good match, but Braun Breaker's going to win in the end. But Jimmy approaches him, and he's like, listen, I want to talk to you if you got a second. That's a interesting choice by Jimmy, considering, Braun just beat your twin brother for his own championship, for his only singles championship in his entire career. And you're asking him to team up with the person he just beat for the Intercontinental Championship and to go against the team that helped him win the Intercontinental Championship. I don't know where Jimmy was going with this one. This one was very, I would love for them to next week or Friday on SmackDown to just let us hear that conversation, how that went. Because I can't, that doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Next up, we got a promo segment between Damian Priest and Gunther. This is to hype up their match at Survivor Series for the World Heavyweight Championship. I'm looking forward to the match, but I don't like the idea of them saying in this promo segment that Gunther has a little bit of fear towards Damian Priest. There's never been a time where Gunther has ever showcased any type of lack of confidence or fear or second guessing himself. As a matter of fact, that might be the most redeeming quality that he has in his character work, period. No matter who he's going up against, he'll respect you, but at the same time, he know, like, you can't touch me. Even going up against the WWE champion, the guy that ended a record-setting reign, he was like, I'm a better champion than you. And to be honest, I believed it. I wanted Gunther to win that match at Crown Jewel. But they used that as a anchoring point to say, hey, when you lost to Cody Rhodes, I began to see the chink in the armor. I'm starting to see that you're not the same monster, the same beast that came in here and was just dominating everyone. And to be honest, when we had our match, the only reason why you're champion right now is because of Finn Balor, because he came in and cost me the championship. I had you beat. That, I would much rather them use that as an anchoring point than the whole Cody Rhodes thing, because Gunther got outsmarted. But the circumstances are totally different. That also goes to say that Damian Priest is at the same caliber of performer as a Cody Rhodes. That's not the case. And so while Damian is a good performer and he's continuously getting better, I don't think that him beating Gunther to become World Heavyweight Championship, to become the champion again, makes a whole lot of sense. Because we pretty much know the only thing that Damian Priest has going on right now is his feud with Finn Balor. So we're probably gonna get that again, unless, that's the only thing I can think of. That's the only thing I can see that this could be like why they're gonna have Damian lose again. Gunther is in this weird place where he has to reprove himself. Like every single asterisk that's on his record, the whole thing in Saudi Arabia with Randy Orton, he had to go back and beat Randy Orton to prove, hey, that wasn't a fluke. I can beat you. Everything with Sami Zayn, okay, yeah, you did beat me for my Intercontinental Championship, but that was a fluke. You can't beat me when it matters. You're not gonna beat me now. And so with Damian, Gunther has to do the exact same thing. Gunther has to prove to himself that, yes, I can beat you. And I don't think it's a situation of he doesn't believe he can, but given the circumstances of how the match ended, he has to, like I said, prove to himself that, okay, without any interference, straight up, man to man, you not on my level. And I think that's the story that's going into it. I don't think that Gunther has doubt, but them telling now they're telling the story that he does. So every time he goes to try to attack Damian, Damian looks him like straight in the eyes and doesn't flinch. And because of that, that makes Gunther feel uneasy. That to me downplays the champion. I don't think, unless you're a Liv Morgan type of champion, you shouldn't be in any situation flinching towards your opponent. Everyone should be coming after you. So why are you the one that's looking just because someone says, I see the fear in your eyes? So we got a return on this week's Raw. Dakota Kai comes back to join forces with Damage Control. I thought, just a side beat, I thought that they would announce the Women's Intercontinental Championship on this week's Raw, especially coming off of them announcing the Women's United States Championship over on SmackDown. It's very weird that they didn't go that route, considering the women's segments on this week's episode were heavy. Women main evented the show. Women were placed in the middle of the show. I really have no idea as to why they would highlight a women's championship being the tag team championships. You bring down your women's world champion in the main event, and then you have your women's champion come down and interfere in the main event. You have a major return in the women's division, and you don't announce this championship. Like, this was the perfect time to do that. I feel like you could have saved the Miz and Karrion Kross and Wyatt segment really for next week if time was an issue. I think more people will be interested in seeing, okay, what does the women's championship look like, and who now everyone's gonna have a good time of speculating who could be the first champion. I don't know. I just feel like they may have missed the ball with this one. Obviously, they can always just announce it next week, but I don't know. I just feel like if you had so much of a prominence on the women's division on this episode, this would have been a perfect time to announce it. But like I said, Dakota Kai comes back, joins Damage Control, and goes out and they take on Pure Fusion Collective, which serendipitous, they're the ones that actually took Dakota Kai out in the first place. I really want more for Shayna Baszler, and I wanted more for Shayna Baszler for a very long time. I wish Shayna would just go back down to NXT and just have great matches there. I don't, I'm one of those people that I remember the NXT Black and Gold days, and I want everyone that was a part of that to be main event stars. When Keith Lee came over to the main roster, it was a disaster. Pete Dunne is just he he's drowning. It feels like. I mean, he's getting TV time. He's gotten his name back, but it's not doing anything for his character development. Ember Moon. We see what Ember Moon is doing over in Ring of Honor and AEW. Like probably the best thing in Ring of Honor as their champion. And I don't know. It just like some NXT call-ups, even though they are amazing at what they do and they have the ability to get over, just wasn't highlighted correctly in a way that the audience could sink their teeth into. And I don't know. It just didn't work. And my only thing, here's my question. I've never really understood. If you are over for the NXT crowd and NXT is selling out stadiums, granted smaller stadiums than the main roster, but stadiums nonetheless, how is it that difficult to get over on the main roster? Like I don't understand how you could be white hot. I'm talking about white with the white hot intensity of 1,000 suns on NXT. But the very next week you get called up to the main roster and it's like you're local talent all over again. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I guess maybe it's like the equivalent of maybe college basketball and the pros. Like some people only watch NBA and they don't watch college. But I don't know. Like it's direct streamline. You just go over to a different day of the week and you're fighting a different person. You're still performing at a high caliber. How is it so hard to get over? Sonya Deville is right there. We're not getting a Shayna Baszler push, are we? We're not getting a Queen of Spades, the submission magician. That it's over, isn't it? Yeah. Lastly, we're gonna talk about this New Day situation. I think it's no secret on this channel. We don't support the breakup of the New Day, but the story that they're telling us, I don't feel like is enough to break up a 10-year friendship, a 10-year partnership in the business, and they've accomplished so much. The story is just as simple as, hey, we're not on the same page. We can sit down and have a conversation and find out what is going on between the two of us. Why are we not on the same page? Is it time to hang up the boots? That's a discussion that they can make amongst themselves. But to the way that this playing out on TV, I mean, it's entertaining because you want to see what's going to happen, and you want to see who's going to turn on the other. You want to see if Xavier's going to turn on Kofi, but I just don't see a purpose in breaking them up. And now that they're announcing that they're going to be having this special dedicated Raw to New Day and their 10-year anniversary, I mean, they're pretty much showcasing that on that show, that's going to be the episode they break up. Or that's the episode that Big E comes back. One of the two. But them breaking up, and a lot of people have been talking to me on TikTok about how it makes sense because it freshens up the New Day and it gives them more exposure, more TV time. I don't think they need that. I don't think we need the New Day. Like if the only way you're gonna give us New Day is for them to break up, then just don't give us any more New Day. I mean, the tag team division that has evolved. You're not gonna put them in compelling storylines to make us believe they're actually gonna win the championships. The last time they were in a storyline that made us feel like there might be a possibility is when they took on the Usos, and that was just to kind of give away the record of longest reigning tag champions. They're already Hall of Famers as an act. So why do we, and I said this in a previous video, why do they need to break up? You can still see Kofi and Xavier and E on other avenues when it comes to the WWE. If you want to see Xavier so much, just go watch Up, Up, Down, Down. You're going to see Kofi on there at some point. I mean, now, if Kofi wants to be enhancement talent, cool. If the New Day wants to be enhancement talent, cool. I don't mind them getting on TV and losing because they've already had their time. That's totally fine. Be a talent that it means something when you get beat. But now you're just saying the only reason why these teams are beating y'all is because we're not on the same page. If we were on the same page, the War Raiders wouldn't have beaten us. Well, what does it say about the War Raiders? Like, do the War Raiders deserve a number one contendership then? If the only reason why they couldn't beat y'all is because y'all couldn't see eye to eye? I just don't feel like it's needed. I don't feel like this storyline is something that we need on television, and it could be used to do something else. I don't know. I mean, I could just be biased because I'm a fan of the New Day. I could be emotional right now. I don't know. But this just isn't my cup of tea. And of course, we had our main event match. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill putting their tag team championships on the line up against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. I don't think anybody thought that there was going to be any jeopardy to them losing. I did think that for a second there's going to be a little something, a little smosh going on when Nia and Tiffy came down to interfere. But Naomi came down, even all that up. And yeah, Jade and Bianca got the win. After the match, there's a post-match beatdown. Io Sky comes down, I don't know why, to help the tag team champions, which is really weird when you think about it, because you were just feuding with them over those titles. The only reason why you are relevant in this brawl is because you're the number one contender for the Women's World Championship. And so the booking of it was a little bit odd because the character motivations were strange. Like, now we friends because I don't like her and she's fighting you, but I don't like you. So if it was me, I wouldn't help either one of y'all. But I don't know. That's just a way to get all the baby faces standing side by side, so we know, okay, these are the baby faces, these are the heels. In case you were wondering who to cheer for, who to boo, this is what's going on. This is it. And that's it for this week's episode of Monday Night Raw. I'm not going to lie, wasn't the strongest episode, especially coming off of a taped episode, leaving Crown Jewel. The first live one back, they could have hit a little bit harder. Again, I think this episode really needed them to announce the Women's Intercontinental Championship. The most interesting part was definitely the Bloodline stuff, as it is throughout the entire WWE at this point. And yeah, this whole New Day thing is just, I'm sorry. I'm just not, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it because at this point, I'm addicted to pro wrestling. So whatever WWE does, I'm going to watch it. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of them breaking up the New Day. Thank you guys for watching. As always, make sure you leave down below what your favorite part of the episode was, what your favorite part of Monday Night Raw was. And make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Flash Pro Wrestling. And I'll see you guys down the road. And as always, be safe, be blessed, be kind. Peace.
The Rock says,